Welcome to Calm Sleepy Tales, where tonight's story, The Whispering Arrival, set in Porcelain Pan in Widdersham, is a tale of quiet beginnings, curious crockery, and the gentle magic of a village that always knows how to welcome someone home. First, let's begin by letting go of the day and enjoy this moment of stillness. Find a comfortable position, let your head rest, and close your eyes. Take a slow, deep breath in and gently exhale. With each breath, imagine the air around you becoming softer, warmer, more peaceful. As you breathe, feel the tension in your jaw, your forehead, and your back begin to melt away. Let your hands rest. Let your feet soften. Feel your body begin to relax. Your shoulders, your arms, your legs, slowly becoming heavier, as if they're sinking gently into the bed beneath you. Imagine the worries of the day slowly dissolving, like mist in the morning sunlight, drifting away, leaving only peace behind. You are safe. You are warm. You are exactly where you need to be. Let yourself surrender to this comfort. And when you're ready, we'll begin tonight's story. The Stranger on Old Loaf Lane. It was the very edge of spring, that in-between season where the crocuses are brave, the mornings still bite, and the wind carries both promise and memory. Down Old Loaf Lane walked a woman with no luggage but a satchel, no map but her own longing, and no plan beyond the next warm place to sit. Her boots were well worn, her coat mended many times over, and her name was Isla Bonnet. She had once owned a kitchen shop in a city far away, a place where the clatter of pots was drowned out by bus horns, and where no one listened when the teacups chimed of loneliness. A fire had taken it all, the walls, the windows, the carefully stacked saucers. What wasn't burned was swallowed in the kind of silence that follows ruin. Isla hadn't intended to walk so far, but then again, she hadn't meant to stay in Widdersham either, until the cobbles of Thimble Alley whispered, "Stay, you'll find what you forgot you were looking for." She thought perhaps it had only been the wind, but it felt like a secret delivered just for her, and so she stayed. The cottage with the leaning chimney. The cottage found her before she found it. Set a little apart from the square, nestled between a quince tree and a stubborn rose hedge, the house had a chimney that leaned to the left like it was trying to eavesdrop on the garden. Its roof wore moss like a woolly cap, and the ivy at the windows curled inward as if it had been waiting for someone. A note was pinned to the gatepost with a bent teaspoon. Vacant, not unloved. Ask at Milo and Co. And so Isla asked. Milo simply handed her a key with no charge, no form to sign, just a wink and a murmured, "About time you got here." The key fit. The kettle inside still worked. The shelves were dusty, but the floor didn't creak in complaint. There was even a cupboard filled with mismatched cups, one of which hummed when held. She slept that first night with the window open and dreamed of shelves full of mixing bowls and copper kettles. A shop is born. Isla opened Porcelain Pan on the last day of March. She'd spent every daylight hour in the fortnight before polishing, painting, and scrubbing the shop front. The sign was carved by hand. Porcelain and pan, useful things, beautifully made, and hung on a bracket shaped like a ladle. The shop was narrow and deep. In the window, 3 chipped teapots in shades of robin's egg, a pepper mill shaped like a badger, and a stack of bowls that changed colour slightly depending on what recipe you were thinking about. She arranged every shelf with care. She didn't have much stock at first, but what she had was lovingly chosen. Vintage bakeware, handmade butter paddles, enamel pie tins, colanders that sighed when dry. Some she'd brought. Others seemed to find her. A spoon left on her doorstep. A measuring cup at the market stall no one claimed. And the townsfolk came. First curious, then committed. The town lends a hand. Tilly Penwright, who owned Tilly and Stitch, sewed her a string of bunting made from flour sacks and teapot print fabric. Nellie Cobblewick from Snugness Toys brought a rocking spatula. It's useless, but it jiggles nicely, and set it by the register to keep Isla company. Miss Plum of the Misty Teacup arrived with a tea canister labelled Hope and Honey and murmured, "For first-time customers and days when doubt tries the door." Even Mr. Venn from the clockmakers popped in with a silent kitchen timer and said, "It doesn't tick, but it reminds you anyway." The children of Widdersham drew pictures of muffins and marmalade and taped them to the front door. And one foggy morning, when Isla had been worrying about how she'd ever keep things running, a crate of crockery was left by the back step. No note, just a sticky label marked, "These belong to you." Inside were pieces she thought lost in the fire. Her hands trembled, her throat caught. She placed them in the front window. They glowed as if grateful to be home. The things that whisper back. By midsummer, Porcelain Pan had become more than a shop. It was where new neighbours gifted pies in pans and left with new ladles and smiles. It was where recipes were shared, passed from hand to hand, sometimes scrawled on napkins, sometimes whispered while choosing a rolling pin, and sometimes, just sometimes, Isla would pause while polishing a mixing bowl and swear she heard it say, "This is the one. Use me for something special today." A chipped gravy boat began predicting surprise guests. A tea kettle once let out a shriek 5 minutes before the rain came. And the tiny brass bell above the door rang differently for every person. Cheerful, mellow, expectant, or bashful. It seemed the cookware of Widdersham, once awakened by love, had no desire to fall silent again. One autumn evening, as Isla was closing up, she found an envelope slipped beneath the door. In delicate script, it read, "To the one who stayed." Inside was a short note. "Thank you for listening to the Cobblestones. Thank you for the warmth in your windows and the kindness in your hands. Widdersham is always better when someone like you chooses it. Signed, The Town, in its own way. She never discovered who had written it. Perhaps it was Milo, or Miss Plum, or maybe the town itself. She folded the letter, tucked it into the cash drawer, and whispered back, "Thank you for calling me home." Years from now, children in Widdersham would visit Porcelain Pan and insist that some spoons were especially good at stirring jam, that one frying pan hummed lullabies, that the eggcups yawned when it got late, and no one would disagree, because in Widdersham, a useful thing, beautifully made, is never just a thing. And neither, as it turns out, is a stranger with a patched coat and a pocket full of second chances.